Hello and welcome to Rediscovering Foods. Today, we're traveling back over 3,400 years to ancient Egypt to recreate one of the oldest documented dessert recipes in human history, the tiger nut cake. This isn't just any dessert. What makes this recipe extraordinary is that it comes directly from ancient Egyptian tomb walls. Hieroglyphics dating to around 1400 BCE show this distinctive cone-shaped cake being presented as an offering to Amun, one of Egypt's most powerful deities. What's even more remarkable is that we can actually make this recipe today, using ingredients that would have been familiar to ancient Egyptians. This gives us a rare opportunity to literally taste history, to experience flavors that connected people to their gods thousands of years ago. It comes from the walls of the tomb of Rekhmire, a vizier, or the right-hand man of the Pharaohs Thutmose III and Amenhotep II around 1400 BC. This was a time of great prosperity and imperial expansion in ancient Egypt, when art, architecture, and culinary traditions flourished. Food played a crucial role in ancient Egyptian religion. The Egyptians believed that offerings of food and drink sustained the gods and the deceased in the afterlife. These offerings weren't just symbolic, they were considered essential nourishment for divine beings. So, what exactly are tiger nuts? Despite their name, they're not actually nuts at all. Tiger nuts, or Chufa as they're sometimes called, are small tubers, the underground storage organs of a type of sedge plant called Cyperus esculentus. Historians agree that tiger nuts, hab-al-aziz, edible tubers, were the primary ingredient in what could be considered the oldest known Egyptian recipe, which dates from the 15th century BC. They get their name from their striped appearance when fresh. These small, wrinkled tubers might not look impressive, but they were incredibly important in ancient Egyptian cuisine and culture. Tiger nuts are nutritional powerhouses. They're high in fiber, contain healthy fats, vitamins, minerals, and even have a decent amount of protein. They have a naturally sweet, nutty flavor that's somewhat reminiscent of almonds or coconut. Today, tiger nuts are still cultivated in several regions around the world. They're particularly important in Spain, where they're used to make a popular drink called horchata de chufa. They're also grown in West Africa, parts of China, and increasingly in the United States as they gain popularity as a health food. What's fascinating is that while many ancient foods have been lost to history, tiger nuts represent a direct culinary link to the ancient past. When we eat tiger nuts today, we're experiencing the same flavors that nourished people along the Nile thousands of years ago. Historians agree that tiger nuts, hab-al-aziz, edible tubers found at the end of the cyperus grass, were the primary ingredient in what could be considered the oldest known Egyptian recipe, which dates from the 15th century BC. Egyptians also added tiger nuts to medicine and perfume, and ate them prepared in several ways. Some devoured tiger nuts raw, but others preferred it flavored, boiled in beer, or roasted atop a fire. The recipe for tiger nut cake comes from hieroglyphics found in ancient Egyptian tombs. Translating ancient recipes presents unique challenges. They didn't use precise measurements or cooking times like we do today. Instead, they relied on the knowledge and experience of the cook. From what scholars have been able to decipher, the basic recipe called for tiger nuts to be soaked, combined with dates and honey, formed into a cone shape, and then likely left to set rather than baked. The cone shape wasn't just decorative, it had religious significance. In Egyptian art and religion, the cone shape was associated with the Benben stone, a sacred object connected to creation myths and the god Ra. By shaping the cake into a cone, it became not just food, but a powerful religious symbol. To recreate this ancient dessert, we'll need 2 cups boiling water, 2 cups pitted dates, 4 cups dried tiger nuts, 1 cup honey, 1/3 cup warm water, half a cup ghee, butter, animal fat, or oil. To begin recreating this ancient sweet, boiling water is poured over dried dates and left to soak for 2 hours. Meanwhile, tiger nuts are softened in warm water for 30 minutes, then crushed by hand with a mortar to protect your tools and better release their natural oils. The crushed nuts are blended in a food processor until a coarse, almond-like flour forms, passed through a sieve and reblended multiple times for an even texture. This flour is combined with soaked dates, melted butter, honey, and warm water is added slowly, just enough to form a soft, kneadable dough. The dough is shaped into a cone, perhaps inspired by the mysterious head cones found in Egyptian art, then left to set completely. With each bite, this ancient treat offers a direct connection to the kitchens, rituals, and flavors of the distant past. While our cake is setting, let's talk about the cultural significance of this dessert. In ancient Egypt, food wasn't just sustenance, it was a connection to the divine. This tiger nut cake would have been presented as an offering to Amun, one of Egypt's most important deities. Amun was originally a local god of Thebes, but rose to national importance, eventually merging with the sun god Ra to become Amun-Ra, king of the gods. Offerings like this cake would have been placed on altars and temples. Priests would perform elaborate rituals, presenting the food to the deity's statue. After the god had symbolically consumed the spiritual essence of the food, the physical offerings would often be distributed among the priests and temple workers. The distinctive cone shape appears frequently in Egyptian religious art. Some scholars believe these cones may have represented the primordial mound from which all life emerged according to Egyptian creation myths. By shaping food into this form, it became not just nourishment, but a powerful symbol of creation and rebirth. Several hours have passed, and our tiger nut cake has set beautifully. Now comes the moment of truth, tasting a dessert that's over 3,400 years old. The texture is dense and somewhat chewy, with the tiger nuts providing a pleasant resistance. You can see the individual pieces of date and tiger nut throughout the cake. So there you have it, a tiger nut cake fit for the gods, made from a recipe that survived for over 3,400 years. This isn't just a dessert. It's a time machine that takes us back to the banks of the Nile, to temples where offerings like this connected humans to their deities. If you decide to make this ancient treat, you'll be participating in a culinary tradition that spans thousands of years. And while we may never know exactly how the ancient Egyptians experienced this cake, we can appreciate the ingenuity and symbolic thought that went into creating it. Thank you for joining me on this journey through ancient Egyptian cuisine. Until next time, remember that every meal tells a story, sometimes one that's thousands of years old. Happy cooking and happy time traveling through food.